All right. So, just want to welcome everyone back to the stream. Today, we're going to be diving into Reaktor again, and we're going to be diving into talking about recreating a Minimoog league in Reaktor. So, hey everyone, welcome to the stream. I'm Danny Xander, and today we're diving into something super exciting, recreating that iconic Minimoog lead sound in Native Instruments Reaktor. So this Minimoog is legendary for its warm, fat tones, and we're gonna rebuild the vibe. We're gonna be rebuilding that vibe and using Reaktor's modular environment. So grab your MIDI keyboard, fire up your version of Reaktor, and let's start crafting some analog magic. So when you open up Reaktor, you're gonna have several different sections. One is the play section, where you can play instruments that are inbuilt in Reaktor. One is the patch section, where you can patch instruments that are modules, I should say, a modular rack. And lastly, you have the build section, which is the building instruments, sensors, synths, samplers, and effects from scratch. So today we're going to dive into the build section, and we're going to build our synth from scratch. And the first steps, we're going to lay down the foundation of our patch. And the three main pieces that we need to make this are our note in module would be the first one. So we're going to go into our blocks, and we're going to grab a note in module. So that's our first module that we'll need. Nextly, we're going to need an oscillator to generate the sound. So since we're making some kind of Minimoog sound, we're going to use a module that looks something like, we'll go into our extra blocks, and we'll grab something from blocks. Just gonna look for another oscillator that we can use. So in racks, we're gonna look for a oscillator that we can use. So we have a few oscillators here. I'm not liking that. So we can use this. Or we can look in here. We can grab another type of oscillator. So let's look and grab another oscillator that we can use to build out this actual synth. So we're going to go with this one for now. You can interchange the oscillators, but we're going to go with this one for now. And then we're going to grab a VCA control, which is going to give it our amplitude control. Then once we have those three, we can actually hook up our patch and build it out from here. And then we can play some sound. So we're getting some kind of sound here. So we can change that pitch or the pulse width or the shape. So to visualize this, we're actually going to add in a util scope. This will allow us to visualize our waveform, see exactly how it's looking. So you can see we have a pulse wave. You can hear the pulse wave sound, but when you change the shape, it changes the shape and the edges of the actual waveform. So from sharper to duller and more rounded. So those are more square and pulse-like. These have become more rounded on the edges of the waves. It's like it's shaving it off into smooth edges. So that's our shape. That shapes our waves additionally, creating additional shapes. And the pulse width is how wide our waveforms are away from each other, creating, again, another sound. So we'll use this pulse width. That's our amplitude. This also adds more wave shaping possibilities, and so do these controls. Just harmonics. So we're gonna stick to from this point, we're going to edit our oscillator, and we're going to drag in. We've got our note in, we've got our oscillator. We're going to change it to, we don't have a sawtooth here, so we're going to use this square wave and make something from it. And let me see if I can add in another waveform that can be a sawtooth. So we're going to add in a secondary oscillator, and we're going to add in a mix. So we can combine both signals together. So it's going to look something like this. So now we've got both waveforms combined, and both oscillators, and we're going to turn each one up and bring in their waveforms. And we're going to change this one to a saw. So okay, so now we're cooking. So just accentuating that saw wave, seeing where it sounds the best. Okay, so I'm liking that, so I'm going to continue with the build. And now we have defining features, a warm, expressive sound. We're going to crank it up a notch and make it a little bit more expressive, adding a filter to our sound and making it really jump out. So I'm going to turn it back on, and I'm going to use that filter to further shape our tone. I'm going to organize our panel as we go. You can see when I pull that cutoff up, it shapes our sound even more. So once that's done, we're going to then shape it. And I want to add a little another effect here, an LFO, just to add some more movement to our sound. But I don't want movement like that, so actually I'm going to remove the LFO. I'm going to add an ADSR envelope to our filter. And because I've added an ADSR, I'm going to need to add an amp envelope so I can control the pitch. So I can control the pitch from when I press the key. So this one, we'll actually name our envelopes so that we don't get confused. This one's the filter envelope, filter ADSR, and this one is the amp ADSR. And now we know which is which and what controls which. So that's for the amp, and this one is for the filter. So Okay, so there we have it. Dialed in a little bit of envelope, dialed in a little filter, and we're left with our finished sound. We could add a little reverb or delay on the end, but that's pretty much it. And we detune one of the oscillators slightly. We could actually add a little more detune, make it add a little more movement. As you can hear, that is even more movement. That sounds pretty cool to me. Sounding pretty good to me. So I'm gonna wrap it up there. You hear how like rich harmonics are coming in. The tone is very modulating. The waveforms and harmonics are modulating all the time. You can see that in the scope itself. You can see how the waveform is changing and undulating from more saw to more square, but also in between. So that gives us a rich waveform to work with and makes it smoother. And we can add a little bit of, let me just see. We can add a little glide, so the notes glide each other. A little glide to glide into each other. And make it a little bit more dramatic. Just make it a little more subtle. There we go. Just a couple milliseconds of glide. Maybe actually I'll dial it down to maybe 100 milliseconds. Just as a starting point. So there we have it. Now the transitions between notes are a little more buttery smooth. And just like a Minimoog, we've got our sounds. And that's it. So you can feel free to add reverb, effects, delay, to bring the sound to life. So let me just add those in to really finish off our sound and sound design session. So I'm gonna bring in a little bit of reverb, a little bit of delay, and just make it sound even better. So let's bring in that little bit of reverb. Gonna go to the Bento Box collection. We're in the round section right here. And then we're gonna bring in a little reverb just on the end for a little more dramatic touch. And then we got our sound. And that is it. So there you have it. We just created a Minimoog style lead in Reaktor in just a few minutes. If you found this helpful, hit that like